Hi everyone. I wanted to put a short video together just on running and cardio at home. So basically how we can substitute running exercises or maybe even impact-based exercises for at-home workouts, whether that's because you can't get outside because of weather, maybe you're doing a Zoom class, or for injury reasons potentially, something like that. So how can we sort of recreate the stimulus that we get from running or cardio indoors? Okay, so you might want to just take a screenshot of that up there. I'm going to pan out a little bit and just have a run through each of the different movements and where some are appropriate and sometimes they're not appropriate depending on the length of the workout, the intensity of the workout and that type of thing. Okay, so you can have a look there and yeah, we'll take you through each of those movements, so what they are and where they're appropriate to sub in. Okay, so this is guidance, just remember this is guidance only and the numbers will change and you can sort of tweak the numbers based on how well you know yourself, but as a rough estimate, put all the equivalents in here per 100 metres. Okay, so the number of reps is per 100 metres, so if we're doing a 400 metre run, we times the number by 4, and that will give us our equivalent for our workout, and then you can tweak it up or down from there, maybe just depending on what you see fit for what you're doing. Okay, so yeah, as a time equivalent, so put 100 metres at around 30 seconds, okay, that's going to be for maybe a sort of enduring workout, so maybe a 20-minute AMRAP. I'll put an example up here, 20-minute AMRAP, run 400 metres, and then 20 single arm clean and jerks. And I'll come back to that and use that example and show how different variables or movements are appropriate in there. Okay, so 30 seconds, so for 400 metres that'd be like 2 minutes, a 2-minute 400, okay, that we could use as a bit of a benchmark. And then simplest one, just running on the spot. Okay, so we can go with that and you can easily change the intensity in there, so just like from a jog to faster running on the spot, which works nicely, but it can be a bit boring, a bit repetitive within workouts, and some other variations will work just as good, if not better, in there. Okay, so if I've got a skipping rope, there's a couple of skipping options that work really well. Okay, that's assuming you can skip indoors as well, so there's going to be limitations on that perhaps. But if you can, skipping wise, what I would say, either single unders or double unders, I would make sure within a workout, you know, if you're trying to sub in for running, you want to be competent at whatever you're doing. So if you can't really skip very well, it's probably not a good option. Or if you're going for double unders, if you're not particularly good at double unders, then you know, stick with singles. And the other thing, even if you are really good at double unders, sometimes single unders will be a better option. Okay, just single skipping can actually replicate running really, really well. Okay, especially if you can do alternating feet running, we can do like what would be like a slow jog. We can get a little bit quicker, and we can replicate more like some faster running by turning that rope faster and increasing the intensity. So single unders work really well if you're competent with especially that alternating foot, but if you're not, then 2 feet together works well. Okay, so putting there per 100 metres around 60 single skips. That'll take around the same time and give you a similar stimulus as what running would in there. Okay, and that works really, really well. As far as double unders go, so if you're fairly competent with double unders, 30 double unders, the equivalent of 100 metres, okay? If you're really good with your double unders 30, it might take like 15 seconds, so it might be a lot quicker, it's probably a little bit more intense than what you would get from running, just depending on the distance and the pace you're going. But what I would say is just make sure you're comfortable with your double unders, you know, as you would be with running. You're not going to be tripping up all the time and stopping. We want sort of the same thing with skipping ideally. Okay, where I wouldn't use double unders probably is in like longer workouts, or certainly for longer runs. So you know, if we had a mile run in there, 30 double unders per 100 metres, so 30 times 16, you're going to be getting like some real big numbers. But double unders are maybe less enduring than something like running that's a lot more sustainable. So, you know, if we're subbing in anything for 1 to maybe 400 metres, double unders will work nicely, but anything above that I would probably avoid. There's probably better options in there. Okay, so yeah, next things we've got in there, so I'll go through all 4 of these. So I've got some like high knees or heel flicks. Okay, so just again running on the spot but sort of exaggerating our run and going for some high knees, so you're getting the arms working in there, holding a good running posture, or heel flicks, so you're getting that heel right up to the bum. Okay, 30 reps per 100 metres. Again, it's probably a bit quicker, but we can get that same sort of intensity going, same sort of stimulus from doing them. Okay, and then the next 2 we've got some star jumps or spotty dogs. So again, star jumps. We've got that light bounce on your feet that you get with running, or spotty dogs, forward and back. Okay, just 30 reps of either of them per 100 metres. And what I would say, rather than, if you've got something like a 400 metre run, rather than doing 120 high knees, we could sub in, mix and match these. You could do 30 high knees, 30 heel flicks, 30 star jumps, 30 spotty dogs. And then you've got a nice mix, all like generally good heart raises that are going to be fairly sustainable and sort of replicate your 400 metre run well. So they're fairly interchangeable, those 4 in there, and they work nicely just for subbing running out for these sort of distances. Anything shortish, probably wouldn't use those again in a longer style workouts. Okay, got some mountain climbers in there as well, so they'll work nicely. Again, about 30 reps per 100 metres. So just coming down and getting that nice leg drive. We have got the addition of some upper body work in there, so we're just driving up and back for around 30 reps. So that is will work as a good sub. And again, you could mix and match that with like high knees, star jumps, that type of thing. Okay, just be aware that there's like that additional work through the upper body there. So in a workout, if you've got loads of maybe overhead lifting, already loads of upper body work, mountain climbers may be less appropriate. Okay, an advanced star jump, so that's a good one. So sometimes with some star jumps in, people say, oh, they're pretty comfortable. They don't really get my heart rate up as much as running. So rather than just out in for 1 rep, we'll go out and in the air, which means we've got to jump a little bit higher. So an advanced star jump will be 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's kind of, your advanced star jump is a bit more like a double under to where regular star jump would be a single under. We'll give it a similar stimulus in that respect. So you find star jumps pretty easy. Comfortable with that plyometrics, you have to jump a little bit higher. Then that advanced star jump will work nicely. 30 of them, they should get your heart rate up, you know, especially if you're doing like 200 metres, 60 of them. That's gonna really work here. Okay. Couple of other options then we've got down here. So burpees or a no press up burpee. Okay. So there's some great options there. Again, it's going to be WOD dependent. You might already have burpees in there, or if you've got a load of press ups or something like that, then you maybe don't want to be sticking burpees in a WOD. Okay. But if it works well for it, then either a burpee or no press up burpee will work nicely. Put about 10 reps per 100 metres. Okay. And time wise, that should work pretty nicely. So a 400 metre run, 40 burpees. Time wise can be fairly similar. Okay. If you have good upper body strength, okay, and you're pretty good with your burpees, then full burpee down to the floor and up. It's going to work really nicely. Okay. If your pressing strength is not that good, or you're a bit less fit, can't cycle through your burpees maybe as quickly, no press up burpee, that'll work nicely. So we take out the press, but we're still getting that nice heart raiser and a good cardiovascular effect in there. Okay, so 10 reps per 100 metres. Great little sub. Okay, and then the last one I've got in here is a great option for maybe longer workouts, or like I say, longer workouts, longer if you've got a lot of running all at once. It's like a mile run, let's say 800 metre run, and you don't want to be, you know, doing 80 burpees, or burpees are not appropriate, or something like that. Then step-ups or weighted step-ups work really well in there, and that's the one exercise out of all these that is non-impacting. Okay, so these all replicate running well because we've got that sort of just low impact but explosive motion going. Something like step-ups, more of a slow, might call it strength exercise, but pretty much zero impact in there. Okay, so depending on what you've got available, we can play around, but if you've got a flight of stairs, then, and again, depending how tall you are, either the first or second step will work nicely. The first step is probably a bit low, a bit comfortable for a lot of people, but will work nicely for some. The second step, so I think steps are probably about 7-8 inches. So second step, you're looking at, what's that, 14 to 16 inches. This is a 16-inch box. If I'm doing a step up, that puts me at about a parallel angle to drive up from. Okay, step, drive, and work through there. And then I want to make sure I'm alternating my lead leg every now and then. Okay, to try and get the equivalent number leading with each leg, because it's the lead leg that's going to do the bulk of the work. Okay, so you can work through there, might do 10 leading with one leg, 10 leading with the other, and keep changing like that. But around 15 step-ups per 100 metres, that would work nicely. And what I would say in there, that might be like pretty comfortable for a lot of people. Add some load, so a weight vest, a weight in a backpack, load that on. Okay, that's going to have a good level of challenge in there. Or just a goblet hold with like a dumbbell or a kettlebell, and we can go through that. And we've now got a movement that we can do for high reps. It's going to start to get our heart rate up, challenge the legs, challenge your breathing. Okay, but we can keep it sort of repetitive and consistent, like running, and get like the movement indoors that's not going to smash on the floors if you're living in like an apartment or something like that. If you're not good for impact, there's a great option there. So your equivalent per 100 metres, 15 reps, and do maybe like 60 step-ups for a 400 metre run. I'd say for most people, you know, second step on a flight of stairs, sofa even, if you've got clean shoes, got your slippers on. Okay, something that's going to set your hip at about 90 degrees. Obviously just bear in mind the higher the step, the harder it's going to be, and you can add some load in there just to change the difficulty. Okay, so there's some great options that you can play around with, just to sub out like running or cardio, or maybe it's skipping that you're subbing out using one of these other options. And yeah, just some things to think about with regards to intensity and duration and stuff. So, you know, 20-minute AMRAP with a 400 metre run and 20 single arm clean and jerks. You might be looking at 4 to 6 rounds there. Okay, so good sub in there, some skipping would work lovely in there. Double unders if you're competent with them. You're going to be getting fairly high volume. Maybe single unders work nicely. We could just as easily do like that option we gave earlier, so like 30 high knees, 30 heel flips, 30 star jumps, 30 spotty dogs. That's your 400 metres, and you do clean and jerks. And you've got a good option in there. There's different things you can play around with. Okay, so there's some options. Hopefully they'll work well for you. Try them out and say this is guidance. You can tweak the reps and stuff, but as long as we're trying to replicate the stimulus that you would get from the run, so a similar time domain, a similar cardiovascular effect, then you should be all good. All right, cheers guys.